Ah! Ho ho ho, I'm Lockie Claus.
So Dream is the number one to get to the other side player. He is the number one parkour tag player.
Of course, Mr. Sand Daddy is a wonderful sandkeeper.
Wishing probability Dettol hand sanitizer.
Welcome everybody to the MCC 19 pre-show. We're going to give you all the information and predictions that you need to know going into this Saturday. Here we have my co-hosts. First we have the one and only X.
Hello there, I'm excited for another lovely festive MCC.
And we also have Lockie.
Ah! Ho ho ho, I'm Lockie Claus, and I've only seen 2/3 of the How to Train Your Dragon franchise.
And then finally we have Lucario.
Hi, I've been listening to Christmas music for the past 6 months. I need help.
And with everyone introduced, remember that there's only 40 slots in MCC, so your favorite content creator might not be able to play. Also remember, we are not the actual Nox crew, so with that, let's introduce the teams.
The Red Not Found. I mean the George Not Reindeers. Wait, no, that's not right. The Red Reindeer, featuring George Not Found, are one of the strongest teams in this event, according to statistics. And they'll showcase their skills in games like survival games, parkour tag, and battle box to give themselves the strongest chance at making dodgeball. Where this team may struggle, however, is in team games, but if they can put on their lab coats and work on some chemistry, they'll be just fine. I think the success of the reindeer is going to come down to how Krinios plays on the day, but I have faith.
With the return of the Pete Green duo on the Gingerbreadman, we have another very scary competitor in team games like Buildmart and Grid Runners this MCC, as well as having some decent PvP skills on this team as well. Gaining some momentum in early PvP games with a strong performance from Pete and carrying this over into some late games, which they could likely dominate, could bring this team to Dodgeball.
The goal, of course, for the yellow team is to get Captain Sparkles his first win, and this will heavily rely on the leadership and performance of Quig. Jordan tends to do better when he has a strong leader on his team, such as Dream, Huns, or Wilbur, so it will likely be up to Quig to take on that role. Kara and Michael will need to be strong supporting players, especially in team games, and, of course, the captain will need to have one of his best showings if he wants to get to the finals.
Mint Team have 4 all-round solid players, and so their main key to victory is to make sure that team games are played late. This team is amazing at Sands of Time, being the second best in the event statistically. Ring Dog's an amazing sandkeeper, and Joel, Martin, and False are all super strong explorers. A late build mark could also be quite good for Mint, with Joel really coming into his own in this game as a leader. Overall, teamwork makes the dream work for Mint.
Alright, here we have a very strong all-round team with Dream, Tubbo, and Rambo all having the potential to place in the top 10. They also have newcomer Slimesicle joining them for this event, and it remains to be seen how well he's going to play. But Emerald's best game is to get to the other side, so playing that late will come in handy for their coin total. Lucario?
Yep, next up on Teal, all their individual players are scary in their own right, so their key to victory is capitalizing on this fear in PvP games, as well as popping off in those movement games. If they stick to a strategy and play to win, this team will be nearly unstoppable in almost any game they play.
For the Cerulean Candy Canes, the team's biggest question will be their chemistry. The 4 members seem to all be from different corners of the community, but if they're able to mesh well, they have the potential to be a top contending team. They will want communication-based games late, since that seems to be their strength, as they don't have the PvP prowess of teams like Cyan, although Fruit may be able to carry them in some movement games.
Let's be honest, there's no need whatsoever to describe the Sapphire Santa's keys to victory, as the Simmer Supremacy will simply guide this team to Dodgeball as they place first in every single game. In all seriousness, though the Simmers may not be the most likely team to make Dodgeball, for them to be placing #NotLast, having a late battle box and a wall rush friendly map would certainly be quite helpful, as well as some pop-offs from Zeus in games like Ace Race and Hole in the Wall.
Yo, the Purple Penguins, let's go! I see this team being very much under the radar, but with Wisp and Tapple in their lineup, they're going to want to play PvP games like Battle Box, especially towards the end of the event if they want to get a higher placement. To get to the other side is another great game for this team. A strong choice for Tapple and CPK, who are quite good at this one.
And lastly, for the Pink Presents, this team contains 3 out of the 4 members of MCC 17 Yellow, which did very well placing at 3rd, so they'll probably need something similar to that MCC to get to Dodgeball. They should rely on their great team coordination to win team games later in the competition, as well as using their experience and game knowledge in games like To Get to the Other Side and survival games, which MCC 17 Yellow did very well in.
And now we move on to our brand new segment, Fantasy Frenzy.
And welcome to our newest segment, Fantasy Frenzy. In this segment, Lucario and I will be going through and creating what we think are the best PvP, movement, and team-based game teams out of all the players within this event. In order to keep it interesting though, we're only going to be picking each player for one of the 3 categories, and also we're going to be going through and picking them one at a time. So, with that, we're going to start off with our PvP players for this event. And I just have to say, easy pick number 1, Sapnap. He's been the best PvPer throughout all of Season 2, being like constant top 5 player in Sky Battle, Battle Box, SG. Overall, yeah, just amazing in PvP. So that's my first pick for the PvP team.
I gotta agree with that. For my first PvP pick, I will be picking Quig, because Quig has just, since literally day 1 of MCC, just always been one of the top PvPers. He's never really lost that title either. Like, he's always just been at the top. He's just so good at PvP. So for my second pick, I will be picking Puns, because Puns is very good at grinding PvP, and he's on a very good team this MCC as well for PvP. So I think Puns is just really going to shine in terms of PvP.
Yeah, definitely would have to agree. Final pick, who is Tubbo. Bit of a out there pick, but Tubbo's been doing amazingly well in Battle Box recently, and also just like consistently mechanically good in games like Sky Battle and just PvP in general. So yeah, that's for the PvP team. We have Sapnap, Quig, Puns, and Tubbo. Why don't we move on to our movement players?
We shall move on to our movement players, and for my first pick, I will be picking Dream. So Dream is, I think currently statistically, the number 1 to get to the other side player. He is the number 1 parkour tag player, and he's just off that amazing performance in All-Stars where he got like first in Ace Race. I think Dream's just currently, I wouldn't say at his peak per se, but he's definitely at one of his high points.
Yep, I will say though, even though Dream's up there, I personally think that the star of the movement player team would be Pizza Hut. He's just the movement goat to me. He's such a great Ace Race player no matter the map, hole in the wall, absolute goat at that. And then also, recently he's been a really strong player in parkour tag, constantly being able to hunt and run for a long time. So that is my first pick as to who should be on the movement team. Following that, I'm going to go a wee bit more out there and go with CPK. CPK, though he does have a few rough movement games, has been really doing well in both To Get to the Other Side and Ace Race, actually coming first in To Get to the Other Side in MCC 16. So I think that he has the potential to really pop off in all the movement games when it matters the most this event.
I'd have to agree with you. Those are both very solid picks. I'm going to go with George Not Found. Similar to Dream, he came off of a phenomenal performance in All-Stars. He made top 10 in Ace Race. He got first in that parkour tag. He has always been a good movement player. So I think George Not Found will wrap off the movement team.
So with Dream, Pete, CPK, and George Not Found in our movement team, let's wrap up this segment with a few team game player picks. And I'm actually going to go with Wilbur as the first pick here. Of course, Mr. Sand Daddy is a wonderful sandkeeper in Sands of Time, but we've also seen him recently doing incredibly well as both a floater and a manager in Build Mart, as well as just generally doing well in Grid Runners. So I think he's a really solid pick for a team game player.
And the next person I think is also up there in terms of team games, Smager. Smager is, since day 1 of MCC, similar to Quig, he's just always been a solid player, especially in those team games. Scott is just a very well-rounded player in MCC, and that extends into team games. And for my second pick, I'm kind of rounding off an iconic duo here, Shovel. She's teamed with Scott 10 times in canon MCCs before this, and they absolutely kill team games together. Them and Build Mart as a duo is insane. It's just horrifying how good it is.
Yeah, Scott and Shovel is just overall really scary duo to face in Build Mart, no matter who else is on the team with them. Yeah, but no, for our final team game player, I'm gonna go with Grian. He's the Build Mart king. He is the manager. He carries teams to victory in Build Mart. And so I can't think of anyone else to wrap up a team games team than the man who slays Build Mart. With that, our team games team is Wilbur, Smager, Shovel, and Grian, a terrifying team to face in any team game.
Yep, I hope you enjoyed this segment, and now let's take it over to the old classic This or That segment.
Welcome to This or That. We're going to be shown 2 possible scenarios, and we have to decide which one we think is more likely to happen. So we have to decide who's gonna place higher, Sapnap or Puns. I personally think it's gonna be Sapnap. I think since Sapnap and Puns both have fairly similar teammates, and Sapnap has a lot of that sort of competitive energy that Puns doesn't quite have as much of. So I see Sapnap placing higher.
Yeah, I agree. Sapnap, he's really good at the game, as he's proven this season. Next prompt, okay. The Sapphire Santas. Are they going to get more or less than 4.5 Battle Box wins? Love me some Sapphire Simmers, but this time they're the Sapphire Santas. And I'm a big fan of the Simmer Rush, but does that mean it's the Santa Rush this time? But anyway, I have faith. I believe in the heart of the cause. I think the Santa Rush, which sounds really weird, is going to get them a good amount of victories that no one will be expecting it. So I'm going to go, yes, more. I think they'll get more. What about you, Stein?
As much as I want them to get like a 9-win streak in Battle Box, more teams are going to sort of see it coming. I'm going to say they don't quite get the 5 wins that we're looking for in this prompt. I think they're going to get a little bit less than that. As much as I want it to happen, I don't think it will. Anyway, for our next prompt, we have to decide who will get a higher individual placement between Tommy or Filza. In my personal opinion, I think Filza is a bit more competitive and has a little bit more all-around skill, a bit more consistent. I personally think, especially with Sapnap as kind of a carry for that team, I think Filza will be able to play into that dynamic a little bit better and will end up with a higher placement.
You see, I'm going to take it the other way. And this is not just because I'm indebted to him, but I'm going to go with Tommy, because unfortunately Tommy and Phil have both been having, let's just say, not the best season, but they're both on the Teal Turkeys, which is a crazy stacked team. And I really think Tommy has it in him to be one of the, or at least more so than Phil, to be the one who wants to really grind and take it seriously. So I think he's going to get a higher placement. All right, next prompt. Who is going to get first on the Walls map and to get to the other side? Tapple or not Tapple? That is some Shakespeare stuff right there. I love that. All right, I'm very clear with my answer. Tapple is very much a beast when it comes to the Walls map. Very good record on it, so I wouldn't put it past him to get another victory. What do you think, Stein?
Listen, Lockie, I know you're normally the one with the hot takes, but I think it's time I take a turn at giving the hot take here. All right, I'm going to disagree with you by saying it won't be Tapple that gets first on Walls. It's going to be Fruit Berries. Now, I know what you're saying. Fruit Berries, he's not playing in this event. Well, guess what? I think Fruit Berries is so incredibly insane to get to the other side, and Minecraft in general, he will find a way.
All aboard the Fruity Bee Express.
For our last question, is survival games going to be played, or will it not be played? And I'm going to say yes. I'm going to go back to pretty much the standard pick here. Yeah, I think more than likely it's going to be played, especially since, I mean, most of the games get played in every MCC, and survival games has been played a lot recently.
There's not really much to base this one off for a prompt, because we don't, when it comes to games, it's entirely RNG. So I'm going to flip a hand sanitizer. If the Dettol logo faces up, I'm going to choose yes. All right, no. Survival games will not be played. Thank you, the magical wishing probability Dettol hand sanitizer. Alright, and that concludes this segment of This or That. We'll see you for the next pre-show, whenever that may be in the future. It awaits us. Not important, but right now we're going to take it over to the main desk for our individual predictions. So, let's get excited.
Welcome back to the main desk. We're now going to each go through our individual predictions for how we think the event is going to go. So for me in this event, I actually anticipate Dream to dominate the competition, getting first individual. I expect we're going to have a game order that plays to its strengths, and he'll make a strong effort to get Slimesicle a win in his first event. Sapnap and Pete have been doing well overall recently, and I expect them to have big performances in this tournament as well. My dark horse is Ryguy Rocky, who has recently proven that he can fit well into a communication-based lineup, and I see him being able to reach his full potential under the leadership of Fruit Berries.
For my top 3, Sapnap has to be my number 1 player. He's been popping off in PvP and movement games this whole season, and he's got an amazing team to support him this event. Rounding out the rest of the top 3, I feel like Puns and Pete have both got solid teams, which will help them push them onto that podium. Strong performances in Ace Race and Hole in the Wall should help them to get there, as well as maybe a few PvP pop-offs from Puns. For my dark horse pick, I have chosen Awesome Dude. Sam obviously didn't have the best ever first performance, but I think on the Cerulean Candy Canes, with help from Fruit and Ryguy, as well as some support from Gumi, he can show that he is a much stronger player than his first performance would have indicated.
Alright, no surprise at all. I am once again asking you for your I am once again asking you for your Pizza Hut support. Yes, putting him first as I always do. Followed by Sapnap, who totally, absolutely, definitely, most absolutely does not have a powerful team to back him up. Kidding. Go the Teal Turkeys. And rounding out my top 3 will be Quig, because he's a skilled player and somehow still flies underneath the radar. Also, I don't think Dream is going to be able to do it this time. No top 3 for him. As for my dark horse pick, ever since Tommy Innit said he would be watching MCC the show, I am contractually obligated to state he will do well. So he's in my top 10 predictions. Go Tommy!
Alright then, in my top 3 we got Sapnap first. Major, I just have one question for you. Why Teal? Why? Okay, anyways, in second place we have Quig because he is absolutely cracked at every MCC game known to man, and I personally think he has a really good team dynamic this time around. In third, I put Dream for no particular reason, 4 wins and one of the highest point average. Okay, yeah, I see why I put him in third. And for my dark horse pick, I have the long-awaited redemption of the ever-loved, revered, admired, respected, esteemed, beloved, honored Philza Minecraft. This is the strongest team he's had in a while, teaming with Sapnap and Sneak for the first time. I think we're finally due for his return to form.
Those are all interesting predictions, but I will say, why do you guys not believe in Puns? We have seen Puns popping off throughout this entire season. We have seen him performing amazingly in games like Ace Race.
Okay, so in all fairness, I'd place Puns 6th. He's definitely in my top 10. I think he'll do great this MCC. I just think the competition he has is a bit higher. Like, you can't look at Teal and tell me Sapnap's not gonna beat him. You can't, like, Dream, with the form Dream's been playing it recently, you can't tell me that Dream could not just, like, completely destroy his score.
Yeah, going off what Lucario said, look at your rankings. You've got Dream in 5th. What do you mean he's better than Dream? You're gonna put Puns above Dream? I just think that Puns has been a little inconsistent this season. Dream, in the last few events recently, has been going really well in his form. So that's why I've put him above Puns in the top 3. And then, of course, there is Pete.
So again, Puns is really good, but I think a lot of these people have a little bit more potential on this Saturday.
I am just outraged that you all do not believe in the supremacy of Puns and George Not Found. And Krinios and Eric, but mainly Puns and George Not Found.
Don't get me started on George. I am very much a firm believer of George Not Found. I have him in my top 10 as well. How dare you even suggest such a thing?
And now that we've talked about all the individuals, for my team predictions, I think Teal will easily come in first. This team is so incredibly well-rounded that I would be surprised to see them miss out on Dodgebolt. I also think the Emerald team will have a heroic second place run in which they barely clinch a final spot from the red team. Once the finals are set, I think it's likely that Green beats out Teal, since they will be more motivated and Rambo will be determined to get his first win. My dark horse team is the Cerulean team, since I think Fruit will be able to lead his team into the top half, and Ryguy will be an excellent support player. I have a strong feeling that this team will be able to have a strong dynamic by the end of the tournament, and will have great showings in the last few games.
In the lead up to this event, everyone has been hyping up Teal as the team to beat. With 4 strong players creating an insane PvP and movement team, I think I'd have to agree with the community, especially the Reddit, that this team making Dodgebolt certainly seems quite likely. However, I do think that they're likely to come second place to the Red Reindeer. The games which have been played later in the event throughout this season are games which Red are better at, giving them the boost that they need to make Dodgebolt. I'm also going to take the stance that Sapchad will not be able to win Dodgebolt for Teal, with Red clutching up a win. To stir up the controversy even more, I'm going to go out there with my dark horse team pick of the Cerulean Candy Canes. Fruitberries has obviously shown in the past that he can pop off and place well individually no matter what team he's on. But I think that Awesome Dude and Ryguy are going to have some of their best performances in a while on this team. And Gumi has repeatedly shown, particularly in Grid Runners, that she's a really strong support player. So, I could see Cerulean popping off this event.
Ooh, interesting. I mean, I'm glad we can all agree that Teal is a crazy strong team, which would be all the more embarrassing when we're all wrong and Teal gets 4th. But no, I'm gonna predict that they're gonna get 1st. Sapnap is on his invincible arc, and I'm a firm believer in Tommy Innett's supremacy. I think the odds are overwhelmingly in their favor to make Dodgeball, so no pressure to them. And my choice for the Dark Horse, what's a lovely little stallion team, and the Dodgeball opponent for Teal, are the Yellow Yetis. I think under Quig's leadership, Kara, Michael, and the captain can prove themselves as the underdogs to get Captain Sparkles to Dodgeball once again, where I do think he'll lose to the unstoppable Sapnap. But A for effort.
Going into this MCC, I don't think I can bring myself to predict Teal anywhere below 1st. If we see each player place like their better past performances, we could see one of the highest team scores we've seen in Season 2. Up against them in Dodgeball, I have the Dream SMP team Emerald. This is an all-around good team with no glaring weaknesses. As long as they hold on to a competitive energy and don't let mistakes get to them, they got a strong path to Dodgeball. In Dodgeball, I think Teal has the overall stronger Dodgeball players and will seal off their hopefully dominant performance. My Dark Horse team is the Pink Presence. As I've said before, this team is very reminiscent of MCC 17 Yellow, which shocked the community with their 3rd place performance. I think they can do it again, with Jack Manifold fitting nicely into the previous 3rd place team. They'll have phenomenal chemistry throughout all games and surprise us all. So, with that out of the way, I noticed that we all had Teal in Dodgeball, but I noticed we didn't all have Teal winning Dodgeball. What's making you guys doubt Teal?
I mean, to me, the thing with Teal is, of course, we've got Sapnap, who's one of the top 3 Dodgeball players in the event right now. But the issue is, the other players on the team don't have much Dodgeball experience, to say the least. Filza hasn't been in since MCC 12, Tommy hasn't been in since MCC 5, and Sneak's never been in a Dodgeball before. So really, I think it's just an issue of... I think that it's an issue of once whatever team is facing Teal gets Sapnap out, it'll be a lot easier for them to beat them.
Yes, but here's the thing. They won't get Sapnap out.
I think that Teal is easily one of the biggest Dodgeball threats out there. Sapnap is incredibly scary at Dodgeball. MCC 18 confirmed that for us, as well as MCC All-Stars, in fact. However, I think there is one team, and one team only, that stands a good chance at beating Teal, and that is the Emerald team. Because Dream is the only Dodgeball player that is on par with Sapnap in terms of just overall skill. Teal will certainly win 1 or 2 rounds, but I think at the end of the day, Dream's going to clutch up. Well, what do you guys think? You can give your opinion in the comments. Obviously, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more MCC content. Goodbye, everybody!